Hey good people, it's Mark from Vintage Audio Nagoya coming to you from the garage tonight. Trying something new, and for lack of a better term for it, we're going to call it demoing while drinking. And I'm drinking out of this Green Bay Packers glass, which is kind of gaudy and kind of hillbilly. But I'm doing it because my beloved Green Bay Packers are facing the Seattle Seahawks in the divisional round of the playoffs this Sunday at Lambeau Field. 13-time NFL champion, Green Bay Packers. Let's get down to business, however, and that is to look at this Echo Chorus by Evans. It's called an ES1, and it's hooked up to a Roland VX 120A amp, mixing amp. Check. Now the Evans has a really interesting way of changing the tape speed, and that's just by sliding this head, which I'll demonstrate here in just a minute. Crazy style to it. It's a free-running tape, much like the Roland Space Echoes. There's a lot of different styles of these Evans. Some just run a loop. Some have that free-running cage where the tape rotates around inside. This is one of those. And I'll show you here in just a second. Now, I've installed a real short loop in here. And it's not the best tape. It's my homemade splice job, and where I spliced it, it's not erasing. So I've decided to just leave it in here for the time being, and I'll show you how to replace the tape in a little demo video in case you're interested in getting one of these and curious what is involved in doing that. But I'm going to shut up for a second and listen. Where my splice comes around, it's not erasing. So you're hearing check. So that's the length of that tape. Whenever you hear check, we're getting back to the point where I spliced that tape. Now I'll put a new tape in, we'll get rid of that, but it's kind of interesting. And if you got a lot of time, you can play with different loops and different sized loops and different lengths of tape, and you can back off the erase head so it doesn't erase, so it'll just keep playing whatever you record over and over again. There's so many different things you can do with these. I just love them. And this Roland has pan effect, so it'll kick from speaker to speaker. I don't know how much you're picking up, but it's starting in the left side and going to the right side, and I'll do it vice versa. Starting over here, coming over here. So you can adjust the amount of echo through this. So there's so many unique controls that happen when you can take the echo right off, bring it back. So there's so many different things you can do when it's hooked up to this. But anyway, by itself, it's an awesome machine. Here's our echo volume. And that's the amount of the echo volume. Here's nothing. Here's cranked. And there's a tone here. I hear a lot of difference in that tone, but there's definitely some. The amount of repeats, we've got a few different choices here. Swell, kind of a womp womp womp, and just whoops, sorry, I hit two at one time there. That's repeat, and then just straight up echo. And then again, you can adjust the speed here. It's a real slapback style, or now if you don't run it through a PA, you go right over here. You have two choices, high and low mic inputs, and there's 4 of those with 2 separate volume controls, and then there's a high and low instrument input. I'm going amp in, amp out here to run it into a PA system. So I'll come back and I'll show you how to change that tape out and get you a good look at the inside of it. Okay, people are back. Listen. There's our splice point. A little diddled in. Here's the mic, and here's our echo repeats. Check. And there's our speed control. Here's our echo volume again. How much volume you get. Here's our repeat. Check. And just straight up echo again. And again, I'm running through the mic. Running through the PA. So we're not using these at the moment, but typically this is where we're going to plug in and adjust our mic volume controls here, instrument volume controls. Everything's working fine here. Now let's take a look inside. Put this mic down. This cover comes right off, and cover's in good shape. There's a few little minor scratches on there. I guess there's that'll come right off there. A little spot there I missed. But anyway, that's what you got here as far as the hinges. Everything's in good shape. And here's our tape spinning around. Let's get in there and take a close-up look at it. Again, like I mentioned, I put a really small loop in here for the time being. And I'm going to show you how to replace this. Now, Evans has got a unique system here. So let's shut it off. And this is how it's done. We unscrew these 4 screws holding down this very thick piece of glass that covers up the tape area. And we'll move this off to the side. And again, a real thick piece of actual glass, which is kind of neat. But again, these are from the 70s, so everything was pretty well built back in the day. And we're going to start by just grabbing this tape. And let's see if we can get you a better view of it here. Might be about as good as we're going to get. So we're just going to move this pinch wheel off of the motor. This is the motor right here that would spin. And just pull this tape out. There's one spot, kind of get through here. You can move this off. And then there's a little guide that you've got to sneak underneath here, which is about the hardest part of this whole operation. Now, you could take that screw out and, you know, it'd make life a lot easier, but we can do it without having to remove the screw. So, let's get this out. So, there's our loop. Just to give you an idea of length here, it's probably, just about a meter or a yard in length about. Now I'll include a couple different spools with this. Okay, I've come back with a little bit longer spool, and I changed the camera angle so you can get a better look at it. This one is about twice as long as the one we had in it, but not quite as long as an original would be. But I've got the original, and I'll make one exact length, include that with it as well as the original. Now I found the best way to do it, start by putting it underneath that pinch wheel, and then you just kind of guide this through these tape heads. Make sure that the recording, the play side of the tape is facing the heads. And then this is the hardest part, and that's getting it underneath that little holder, which, again, if you wanted to, you could remove that screw and make life a lot easier, but we're going to try to slide it up under there like that. So there it is. Move this off to one side and get the tape in between that roller, and then it goes here. And then there's a little door out the back here, you see. Slide those two in there like that. And then I typically just lay the cover on until I know that I've got everything squared away. And turn it back on. Keep your eye on it. Now sometimes you have to give it a little start like that to get it rolling. And now you'll see that it's starting to feed that tape through. Keep your eyes on it so it doesn't bind up anywhere. And then once you get through, and there's no kinks in it, no twists in it. I'm going to turn that around. There we go. Then you can fire it up and run it at full speed. And there it is. That's how you go about changing these things over. Now I'll bring my mic over, and you can hear we're back in business. Check, 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 check. And again, we can see here. This is the ingenious little style of this machine, and that is if you move the actual tape head. Let me turn this down just a little bit. You move the tape head to change the length of the echo. Check, 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 check. So amazing how these things really work. Again, we've got a lot more room in here, so we can squeeze a lot more tape in there. Or you can put a really small loop in there. And here's our erase head right here. So again, if you want to experiment with these things, you can back this tape erase head off, and it'll just play a loop, whatever you record, over and over again. Now, I realize there's a lot easier ways to do these things with programs and computers and so on, but there's just something magical about doing things like this with tape and using these things that people have used for 40 years before you, and you get it, and you're carrying on the tradition of making music with these old things. I mean, to me, it just doesn't get any better. So, ask me if you have any questions, and this comes with a little cleaning kit that you put a little alcohol on these and run them across the tape heads here. This is stuck to the inside. And like I said, I'll send along a few different tape spools, a couple different lengths, and the original tape that came out of it that you can have and experiment with. All right, thanks for checking it out. The Evans Echo Chorus. I'm not sure where the chorus comes in. I don't see any real chorus ability, but Japanese were free to name them whatever they wanted, I guess, and they chose Echo Chorus. Thanks for checking it out. Go Packers. Hey people, we're back because I forgot to show you the final step in the tape change, and that is to close this little back door. And you do that by taking this little piece of chrome or stainless that's on this chain, and then you stick it one side in here, and then you kind of bend it a little bit, pushes in, and then that locks in place so that the tape can't sneak out the back on you. So that's it. I think it's an awesome machine. It's not perfect, you know. A couple things I'll point out here as long as we're back. I didn't mention, but you can see in the pictures there's a little crack in this edging right here. You can see that there isn't one on this side. You know, it's certainly not an issue, but it's it shouldn't be there. There is a little bit of pitting, which I'm sure you saw in the demo there, but a little bit of pitting in the chrome here. But hey, you know, it's getting close to 50 years old, and that's a little character. I think they're awesome. I think they're the coolest things. Knowing, again, maybe I said it, but knowing that other people have used it, and it was on the other side of the world, and some Japanese cats in the 70s were laying down funky tracks, and now you got it, and you're making music with it. To me, no computer program can compare with the physical aspect of having this thing and turning those dials, and it's I just love these things. I think they're awesome. Okay, thanks for checking it out. Have a good night. Go Packers. Hey people, we're back because I forgot to show you the last step, and that is to close the trap door. And that involves this little tiny, oh crap.